Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what does death really look like? Is it a quiet farewell, a peaceful slumber, or something far more unsettling than what we're told in books and movies? Have you ever believed that as long as medical technology keeps advancing, you or your loved ones might avoid the grip of death altogether? Welcome back to the channel, friends. This is your haven for deeper human stories and spiritual awakenings. Today, we're diving into one of the most profound, haunting, and life-shifting subjects, death, not in theory, but in raw, visceral experience. And the lines we'll be using today is one that might surprise you. The young medical intern who later became a monk. His year inside hospital wards became a journey that forever changed his life, and may very well change yours. This isn't a horror story, it's a reality check, and if you let it, it might open your eyes to the meaning of life, suffering, and the urgency of inner transformation. So take a breath, aches and space. This story might shake something in you. The journey begins in the bustling corridors of a hospital. A protagonist, at the time, was a third-year medical student starting his final year of internships. At most in his field, he entered with a sense of ambition, armed with textbooks, medical dreams, and the youthful belief that science could conquer almost anything. He expected to sharpen his skills, learn from great doctors, and maybe save a few lives. What he didn't expect was to stand face to face with raw death again and again, and to realize how little he, or anyone else, was truly prepared for it. His first rotation was in obstetrics, a miracle of birth, right? That's what he thought. But what he encountered was something closer to battlefield trauma. Screens ripped through the delivery rooms, blood pulled on floors, and surgical tools glistened under fluorescent lights as doctors sliced through layers of flesh to extract babies whose tiny lungs had yet to scream. You watched as mothers gripped the edge of beds, eyes wide with agony, as lives were torn from bodies in a flood of pain, fear, and fluid. Some babies cried, some didn't. The ones who didn't were whisked away for emergency resuscitation. Some made it, others didn't. He stood in those rooms and asked himself, is this what we call a beginning? He realized then that birth isn't always a celebration. Sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's the first taste of suffering. A child's welcome into a world of uncertainty. From the very first breath, or failed attempt at one, life reveals its fragility. And came pediatrics. Surely, children bring joy. But here, they lay pale and silent, their bodies invaded by tubes, their tiny chests rising and falling under the strain of machines. You watched one boy, just 7 years old, lose his fight against pneumonia. At night, he was called into the ECU to assist with GERD. The boy's body was limp. The heart monitor numbers were dropping. The boy's father, outside the door, was screaming, "Please save my son." But the doctors knew, everyone knew, the boy's time had come. He pressed down on the child's chest as instructed, but inside, he was breaking. It felt violent, it felt wrong. The boy's ribs cracked under the pressure, and still no pulse. When the heart monitor went flat, it wasn't just the boy's life that ended. Something in the intern shifted. For the first time, he felt the truth of impermanence not as a concept, but as a stabbing realization. Next came trauma and surgery. In night emergencies, blood splattering against sterile tiles, adrenaline surging in waves. One night, they brought in a university student stabbed in the chest. The young man's eyes were wide with terror, this body bleeding out. The intern helped clamp vessels, hold open wounds, and sew skin. He prayed under his breath, if he has more life to life, let him stay. But the young man didn't make it. Each time death came, it left behind a silence deeper than any fight. A silence that haunted the intern in dreams, in reflections, in the corridors of his own heart. And came the geriatrics department. Different kind of death. At sudden, at explosive, at soul, methodical, routine. The elderly lay in beds, forgotten by families, hooked up to machines, staring blankly into nothing. Some had no visitors, some had no names, just by numbers. Some spoke to walls, others didn't speak at all. Their bodies had long since started shutting down, organs failing one by one. Dignity evaporated. Life was still there, but barely. You once watched an old woman clutch a faded photograph and murmur names no one in the room recognized. He passed away 3 days later, unnoticed. Owen came to claim her body, and the intern thought this is how it ends for many, not in a burst of light, but in slow, suffocating darkness. Finally, psychology, the final frontier. Answer wards, the smell of antiseptic, decay, and despair. Here, hope had been buried long before bodies were, faces drawn thin, eyes sunken, chemodrips ticking down seconds of remaining time. You watched one man in the final stages of liver cancer struggle to breathe, his body bloated with fluid, his mind still fighting to grasp something anything, but death would not wait. You remembered the man's last look, terror, mouth open, eyes wide, clinging to the last thread of consciousness as if trying to escape what was already inevitable. At year broke something open in the young intern. He had entered as a scientist. He came out as a seeker. He couldn't go back. He couldn't unsee what he had seen. The glamour of the medical profession faded. In its place rose a solemn clarity. Medicine could delay death, but not deny it. It can reduce pain, but not remove it. And no amount of training could prepare one's soul for the sound of a flight line. He began to look elsewhere for answers. He turned to the scriptures he had once ignored. He turned to meditation, to silence, to the teachings of those who had contemplated mortality for thousands of years. The more he learned, the more he realized death is not a malfunction. It's not a failure. It's a part of the design, and it demands understanding, not fear. He chose to leave the path of the doctor and walk the path of the monk, not because he gave up on people, but because he wanted to help them in a deeper way. In his words, doctors save the body, but only the Dharma can save the soul. His experience is not unique. Others pass through hospitals each day, witnessing scenes like this, but few truly absorb the lesson. We sanitize death. We hide it behind curtains, euphemisms, and television tropes. But real death doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't care about age, plans, wealth, or belief. It just comes. And so the real question isn't, will I die? It's, am I ready? A monk now teaches in temples and retreats. He shares his stories not to frighten, but to awaken. Because until you've seen death up close, you might not know how to live. Real life begins where denial ends. He tells his students, alive with the awareness that breath is not guaranteed, not for the sick, not for the young, not even for the strong. He shares the 8 suffers as not as abstract teachings, but as daily realities: birth, aging, illness, death, separation from loved ones, association with the hated, unfulfilled desires, and the burden of the 5 aggregates. His words are calm, but the urgency beneath them is thunder. He teaches that fear of death comes not from death itself, but from clinging, from the false belief that life is ours to control, to own, from the illusion that permanence exists, and in breaking that illusion, liberation begins. People ask him, how do I prepare? And he answers, reflect daily on impermanence. Serve others, not to escape pain, but to understand it. Practice letting go, and not just of things, but of expectations, regrets, and the stories we tell ourselves. Forgive quickly. Love deeply. See what matters. And remember, always, that time is not a promise. If this story moved something in you, if it cracked a window of understanding, then sit with it. Don't rush to distract yourself. Don't brush off the discomfort. That discomfort is the beginning of wisdom. And if you've ever worked in a hospital or faced the death of someone you love, you know this truth already. You know the sound of final breaths. You know the way grief swallows wounds. You know that even in the best conditions, death always arrives. So let us not fear it. Let us walk beside it, eyes open. Let us stop pretending we have forever. Let us, instead, choose to live as if we don't. Thank you for watching this video. May you be safe, awake, and filled with the clarity that only impermanence can bring. We'll see you in the next one.